and this is an update on the realities of homesteading. And here I am with a pickup truck full of fencing. Now, I say full of fencing, I wouldn't exactly call it full, but one of my previous points was that fencing is an ongoing expense and you need to get it while the getting's good. Now, this is a prime example. This little bit of fencing, though there's a lot of rolls here, we're not talking about a lot of feet. So there's 8 rolls here at 50 feet a roll. So you're talking about 400 feet. I believe I did that math right. And at regular price, this was $1,200. $1,200 to do 400 feet. That's nuts. On sale, $400. So $1 a foot is actually a decent price. That is pre-COVID numbers, and that is not bad at all. You're not bad. Bad is relative, but it's basically becoming unaffordable. To say that this little truckload of fencing is $1,200, 400 feet, is just crazy. I mean, it's literally 3 times what it was just a few years ago. And this truck's not even full. And, we get what we can. It sells out quick whenever it's on sale. And it's because everybody wants it. It's the only way. But you're going to need it. And you're going to need it for homesteading. You're going to need it for your gardens. You're going to need it for your animals. So you need to plan it out. You need to go to the stores, find out who's doing sales and when and how often, figure out how much you need and buy it when it's on sale. It is the only way, and it is going to save you so much money. It's always good to buy the heaviest gauge you can. I can't remember the gauge on this. 14 gauge. Yes, it is 14 gauge, which is okay. I wouldn't go much weaker than that. If you get a really, really good deal on a slightly lighter gauge, you could probably get away with just lighter than 14. And we're talking from experience here. So our animals, when given enough time, will break this wire. I mean, of course, animals will break any wire, but if it was a little thicker, I think it would hold up better. And if it was a little lighter, they would rip through it a lot quicker. So if you don't know anything about wire or gauges, 14 is an okay point. Go slightly heavier. And if you have to go lighter, don't go much lighter, or it's not going to be of any use to you. We replace this constantly at 14 gauge. And if you're thinking, well, why don't you go a little heavier? There is no heavier. This is it. This is what our store offers. And it does work for animals, and it would definitely work for a small garden. But the point is, if you do have an option to find something a little heavier, go for it. But always get the best deal you can when you have to get a lot of it. It's 4 feet high. 4 feet works really well with our animals. Of course, you get a lot better price on 3. It depends on what you're fencing in. If we were only fencing sheep, I would say 3 feet would be fine, and you could save yourself a ton of money. You might even be able to go lower. Sheep really don't climb. We have goats. 4 feet is not even high enough, but we're not going to go 5. We do the 4 feet with electric wire, and that's a good combination. The good thing about mixing your physical wire with electric wire is that it doesn't matter really what gauge of wire you get. The electric wire is going to protect it anyway. There's always the situations where your electric could break, your electric could go down, it could get stomped, your power could go out. So only you know your circumstance and whether or not you can depend on electric 100%. We can't, we're not doing it. So we do the combination of physical and electric. It's why we go to the light medium gauge. It is the best deal. It's the only practical way, $1 a foot when you're doing tens of thousands of feet, literally. It's the only way it can be affordable at this point. We are going to continue to push electric. That is the most logical way. Electric is really cost effective. It has a little bit of a setup. You got to do a ground, you need your electric charger. But once you get that stuff in, you can do 50 to 100 miles of electric off your charger, getting wires, no problem. Anyway, I can go on about the benefits of electric, and there are a lot. But for us, electric alone wasn't enough. We wanted the physical as well. There's other considerations. Physical help with predators a little more. Deer, raccoons, raccoons especially, if it's just purely electric with no physical, they're just going to hop through it, hop over it, hop around it. At least the combination makes it so they can't dig, because the electric ideally is right in the digging zone. It's also right in the nosing zone for your sheep and your goats. That's what keeps them from digging under. You have that little bit of wire right at the bottom, and you have it at the top. It prevents digging, it prevents climbing. It's perfect. It's all perfect. So that's the little fencing tutorial. That's what we'd say. Go on sale only. Go 14 gauge, get your 4 feet. 4 feet will handle almost all your animals, any normal animal anyway, and do a little bit of electric with it. So that's the little bit of fencing tutorial. Once again, if you are just going to hop into a hardware store in our neck of the woods, this is what you're looking at to spend your $1,200 on. And isn't that crazy, what COVID has done to homesteading? And people think homesteaders are out here to save money. There's been no saving money. It's a hobby, and it shows, because one thing about all hobbies is they all suck your cash dry, and this is no exception. So where I'm going to go put away these bars of gold, fencing. Sometimes I forget exactly what I'm dealing with here. It should be gold for what I paid for it. Anyway, tune in next time. Maybe we'll talk about the electric, how to set that up, what it looks like to have a combination of physical fence with electric. Because, of course, you have to set it up in a way that makes sense. You can't just slap your electric around. The electric needs to complement the physical fencing, and it does that with proper placement. And we can show you all that. We do have some videos up already where you can see our electric, but we'll talk about that specifically. Thanks for joining. I'll see you next time.